You're listening to Unapologetic, hosted by Eric King.
Welcome back. WOVU and BBC are doing some amazing things in the neighborhood. So just make sure that you go out and celebrate, WOVU's 7th birthday, as well as, once that minority health fair comes around, make sure you be a part of it because we have to save ourselves and we have to save our communities. So everyone pitching in is what we need from everyone here. Without further ado, I want to just bring in Margaret Wong. She is a powerhouse in the field of immigration law with over 4 decades of service. She has fought for justice, identity, and dignity for immigrant communities across the country. Her work isn't just about her legal status. It's about surviving, healing, and building a future. So without further ado, I guess that's how you said it, I would like to bring in Attorney Wong. Attorney Wong, you still there with us?
Oh, yes, I am. And
Hey.
thanks for your invitation.
Oh, thank you for being a part of this experience and just being a part of, having your voice here during this time that we are, I guess, dealing with a lot of immigration and other rising struggle within our country right now. So I'm just glad that you're here. My first question is, I always like to ask individuals, when did you know that this field or what you're doing was the thing that you wanted to do?
Oh, I didn't know because when I graduated from law school, which is 1976, that's when hardly ever any woman, not to say a Chinese woman who speaks with an accent. So I was hired, I was fired, I was hired, I was fired. So when I started on my own, in those days, you don't do the same work as your bosses because they do PI. So I don't want to take their clients. So I stopped doing PI. They did Social Security. I couldn't do Social Security. And then somehow I got into immigration because I speak fluent Chinese.
Mm-hmm.
So, and those were the days where in the 70s, so I just fell into it and I fell in love with it. And also talking about your invitation being with the minority community, I do want to thank you because through the years, especially in the 60s and 70s and 80s, the African American Black people doesn't really like the Chinese, especially new immigrants, because they think we took away their jobs. It's just like when the Latino people come in, the African American and the Chinese don't like them because we think they took away my jobs.
Wow.
So it's a cycle. Oh yeah. So now it's nice that we actually were talking because I still remember like 20, 30 years ago in a lot of these library speeches and stuff, they would say, who do they think they are? They come to America, they come to our country, and then, they take jobs that's cheap and then we lose their jobs. But that's really very much the purpose of that Civil Rights Act in 64 and the Color Quota Act 65. What we do follow you. It's like you always lead and then somehow the people of color came in. And I don't know if you know, but Latino people, Hispanic people, they're not people of color, which people didn't know that. Yeah, so that's very exciting to be in your program.
Well,
Yes.
I appreciate that. Also, one of my friends, you were their parents' lawyer when they immigrated to Ohio. So she wanted me to give you a shout out and say thank you for your help and their parents. And I'm
Thank
pretty
you.
sure you didn't know that before, but that I knew someone that knew you. But I just appreciate you coming on. And so what I do as a professional is I'm a mental health professional. And anytime that I'm working with someone or talking with someone, whether on my show or in my office, I always want to understand this psychological toll that happens with them, with their experience in America, being someone or working with individuals that are from not from here, right? Have the immigrant experience. What type of, you're a lawyer, but you still deal with the person. What type of, psychological or, mental health related aspects that you have to deal with in working with clients that's dealing with this, this very
That's
important
right.
subject?
That's right. It's difficult. Now, my job, because we have about 80 people working in our law firm now compared to the early days, I was alone. And so my job starting from last year is really protect mental health because when people have their loved ones, especially Indian people, Chinese people, Latino people, when their loved ones are in jail, and it's not like we're used to being in jail. It's embarrassing, it's
Hmm.
horrible, and they snatch the father and the mother right in front of the kids, put a ankle bracelet on them, and 5 cars surrounding the house for one
Wow.
mother of, oh, it's horrible. So it's very emotionally draining, and they call you at night and they don't speak the language, just shout into the phone and being, most immigration lawyers like us, we're very sensitive, because because the government is really, we're the messenger, right? But we
Hmm.
couldn't get them out of jail. We couldn't get them to stop deportation. So we sort of take the guilt, being Catholic or Christians, we take
Right.
the guilt into
Right.
ourselves. It's just a very difficult time. So now we started out as a firm, we started helping people, encourage them to go to the gym, we'll help pay for the gym. We're trying to help, if they go to like parochial schools and stuff, we help pay some tuition so
Hmm.
that pressure is not that much. So we are thinking of different ways just to get the pressure off. It's just a very, very bad time
Yeah.
and also a lot of lawyers and not non-lawyers in this field, they're retiring. They're saying it's not worth their while
Yeah.
because they're getting very depressed.
Yeah.
This is not good.
What the interesting part is the concept of burnout. You have burnout with the individuals that you are working with, right? So, being in this country, being an immigrant or migrating to this company or this country is very stressful as well. So you're dealing with that. And then you're also dealing with what's going on in our country as of right now, which, if you look at it from your clients, I can see a high level of burnout. Also, for those that are a part of your profession and helping those individuals, I can see this concept of compassion fatigue as well as burnout. So when you are attempting to support your clients, how do you know when it's time to pull back and protect your health?
In my younger days, I would not have told them, but now when they're calling me from jails or detention centers, because most of those detention centers are different. It's not like a regular jail because they are mixed up with different people, and most
Hmm.
of our clients have their dietary needs because some of them are vegetarians, some of them have different stuff, and most detention centers don't. It's not like a regular detention center because immigration detention center under all these presidents, private jails having a contract with private businesses. So they pay them like sometimes $115 a night,
Hmm.
sometimes $135 for each person. But to make money, they have to keep the expenses low, so they don't give us fresh. I mean, I'm not asking for fresh hot coffee, but
Yeah.
at least give us a. I mean, that's what I think, right?
Right.
So,
Right.
and the government pays them. It's not like we stay there for free. So it's very sad. And also, I told them that's not the time to chintz. Please pay $6 for a ramen because as
Hmm.
immigrants, we are very cheap people. We don't chintz when it comes to, you know, maybe our staff and stuff. But when it comes to my own, I'm
Hmm.
cheap. I want to buy something. So because if you can save a dime, you save a dime. So I tell them that's the time you don't chintz on yourself.
Right.
Remain
Right.
strong, don't fight because sometimes, especially with Latino males, because
Hmm.
we're macho people, you cannot carry a gun, you cannot
Right.
go hunting.
Right.
It's a little stuff because they don't know. And also, I don't know if you know, but I always like to tell the public that for $10 a fishing license, 95% of those fishing license for $10 that you sign, you don't even read it, you just sign, pay them $10.
Hmm.
Most of them say you're an American citizen. So immigration is
Mm.
smart. So they'll go there and find a fishing license and say, you sign your American citizen. I said, we don't even read English, not to say, "Oh, why would I say I'm an American citizen? I know
Wow.
I'm not." Oh yeah, these are little things that's sort of fun. I think now I'm telling my American friends who's a
Yeah.
lot of these are bosses who's helping their aliens or their employees.
Right.
And I tell them, because they would never in their dream. I didn't know that until immigration come to me and
Get
say,
out of
"Margaret, what
here.
are you doing?" Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my god.
yeah.
So wait,
So
wait,
I
wait,
learned.
wait, wait.
Yeah,
Simple fishing license that you can go and get from any gun and tackle shop, you're saying
right.
has a clause stating that, and when you
Yep.
sign your
A
name,
lot of
state
them.
that you are an American citizen. Are you
Yeah, a
serious?
lot of them. Oh yeah, yeah, I'm serious. And also, don't ever buy a gun
Mm-hmm.
from a big store because sometimes the clerk they figure you don't speak the right English. They even sign your name, and on there they say, "Are you American citizen?" You say yes, or "Are
God,
you a green
yeah.
card holder?" You say, "Oh yeah." So guns, I always tell them, no, no, I don't even explain. I say, please don't carry a gun
Oh,
because number one, you
wow.
don't know if that's licensed. Number two, if it's licensed, you probably say you're American. It's amazing because Indian people, Mexican people, Chinese people were not allowed to have guns in our country. It's totally illegal. So when they come to America, they say, oh, it's a gun, right? It's
Right,
fun. So
right.
it's like,
Second
for that.
Amendment. Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's like, oh, okay, I'll buy one. Oh my gosh, what are you thinking?
I didn't know.
Oh, these are little, yeah, yeah, this is really fun. That's
Oh,
why I
wow.
want our listeners to know this because they're so American and they never have to apply for visa. But do you know people even like, now I'm a citizen, but before I got my citizenship, if I go to France, I need a visa. What are you
Mm.
thinking? So you can't buy a round trip ticket. You go there, you won't be let in. You'll be stuck in the airport and wait for the next flight back.
Oh,
Oh,
I was gonna say that part. So let's switch it, right? Let's get a little positive. Let's look at it
yeah.
from this concept. So a lot of listeners are not only first generational college students, but some, within our area and our listening, within our listening area, I suppose, are first and second generation, immigrants. When you are working with your clients or working with someone, what do you want them to know about reclaiming their power, here in America?
Yes. So basically, I play defense, so I'm really sorry. But I always tell them, do not drink and drive.
Uh huh.
Do not steal. I mean, it's so tempting. I don't have the money. I saw some really cute baby clothes. There's only $20. I slip it under my bag.
Mm-hmm.
They forgot that America is so beautiful, but we have galore satellite, I mean, things on top in Walmart, in Kmart.
Yeah.
And, I mean, we have a case actually where actually she paid for a t-shirt. It's too small and the son is crying, insists
Mm-hmm.
on wearing it. So she brought the son to the bathroom, came up with a new t-shirt and just walked out and didn't show that she paid for a smaller
Mm.
size or a bigger size or whatever.
Gotcha.
Now she's stuck in jail because they can liken that because January 29th of 2025, Trump signed a new law saying that any theft, robbery, domestic violence, and assault, um, mandatory detention. You can't even hire a lawyer to get you
Get
out,
out of
right?
here.
So, oh yeah. So now I have clients who have a green card who've been in America for years and years. Now forgot that she has this crime. Now come and say, "Don't tell my husband." I said, "How am I going to not tell him when you are in jail? I have to tell him why are you in jail? In
Mm-hmm.
immigration jail." The husband called me and say, and then the husband is sheepish and so cute. The husband said, "Oh, she paid. She just
Mm-hmm.
forgot she paid." I'm like, "Oh, these are little things that
Wow.
American public don't know. They assume people like us, we're illegal anyway. We don't
Yeah.
speak English, but a lot of them actually they really make good money because they do construction.
Okay.
Construction work is very highly paid.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's highly paid. Yeah.
So let's do this. Let's look at this. So back in the day, so I'm not sure if you're familiar with Spike Lee's movie, Do the Right Thing,
Yes.
where it
I
has,
follow him.
yeah, that
Yes.
does this amazing montage of, immigrant individuals. They have Asians, they have Jamaicans, they have, right, various different, individuals that are there. And back in the day, because I'm older, there was, a rift with the black community and the non-black business owners. If we're going to talk about wealth, I want to talk about the anxiety that is associated. So how do you advise your clients who are dealing with legal limbo while also dealing with that financial anxiety? Because you stated the concept of finances frequently, and back in the day, and also, one of the, I guess, tropes or assumptions were, these individuals that are coming into our country are getting loans and building in black communities and taking that money. Now we are
Right.
changed just a bit, but now we're dealing with, what you spoke about, the concept of wealth and money is a little bit different. You're talking about legal funds. What do you tell, or what does it look like where you're working with a client who's in legal limbo and they also have financial anxiety as well?
Correct. Because basically they borrow loans, but are higher. Because, for example, we have a lot of clients. For example, I have a work permit, only is good for 5 years, but I do have a deportation order. That work permit allows me to get a social, to file tax return, to work, but it does not allow you to borrow money, does not allow me to, to really have good credit because because I don't credit. So basically those people, even though they may be wealthy in the eyes of the communities, they really borrow loans at a lot higher rate
Right.
because they have no credit or they don't believe to have credit. So now the smarter banks, they're really starting new banking accounts. There was a time, even now, some banks still won't give us bank accounts, but the smarter ones now, who's in the communities, they're opening bank accounts for us, but they're loaning us money in a higher rate.
Right.
And they're
Predatory
requiring
lending.
more security. But
Yeah.
that's okay. I mean, as long as they're willing to loan, we'll make it. And better yet, different communities like us, we have different ways to borrow. Like in Chinese, we have 走围.
Mm-hmm.
走围is like 10 or 20 housewives. In fact,
Mm-hmm.
I came to America through 走围because my parents didn't have the money to send me.
Mm-hmm.
So she gathered like 20, 30, 40 wives who every month they put in 20, 30, 40 Hong Kong dollars, which is only 5, 10 US
Mm-hmm.
dollars.
Mm-hmm.
And they to collect them every month. They get to pick. I'm willing to pay this kind of interest for the next 36 months, for the next 24 months, because my daughter needs money to go to America.
Right.
And the next month, another woman would pick and they'll go another rate, saying that because I want to buy a refrigerator, because in those days, people don't have banks to borrow.
Mm-hmm.
So we
Mm-hmm.
still use that way. So there's a lot of ways for people like us to borrow money that doesn't go through the bank. So if
Nice.
bankers, you have listening, please listen to me. Let my people open bank accounts
Mm-hmm.
because we don't default. We don't dare to go into bankruptcy. They'll kill us, because we're not brought up to default.
Right.
So I'm trying to get your audience to loan us money now.
I seen
People
it.
need to know that,
I feel
Yeah,
you. Hey, this is an equal opportunity ask. So
that's right. Yeah,
it's okay. You spending your time, volunteering your time. Go ahead and speak your piece. What I want to do is just
it's okay.
let me land the ship on this because I know you got so much work that you got going on. Those that are what are some legal resources that immigrants of color should tap into that you know of? Now I know you have your location, but I'm pretty sure there's some other locations as well.
Yes, we have 7 different locations, but my advice
Mm-hmm.
for first gen or children for immigrants is always when you do your admission, college admission, and in fact, that's a big thing. And if you scroll the community, Korean and Chinese Facebooks and stuff, there's a big, big thing on the Mr. Kim, who's an astronaut who will be going to space this
Mm-hmm.
time. He's a Harvard doctor. He came from not a rich family. He's an astronaut going to space. So all mothers, and in fact, one of the mothers was saying, one of the kids was saying, "Oh, I'm so glad his mother doesn't know my mother." Because all these mothers, I mean, we push our kids. Oh, look at this Kim guy. He's a
Mm-hmm.
doctor. How come you can? Even now, I yell at my kids. Oh, you didn't go to Harvard. So it's so community orientated. And then even though we are very humble, we we talk about our kids as if they're us. It's really sort of embarrassing in our communities.
Yeah.
But talking about what remedy, my advice on children of immigrants,
Mm-hmm.
because most first gen people, zero gen, we don't speak English.
Gotcha.
So I would write in my college application, I am the first person in my whole family of generations of Koreans, Chinese,
Mm-hmm.
who will hopefully would attend your college. Don't tell them Harvard, then they're not going to accept you because, well, if you want to go to Harvard, go to Harvard. Why come to me? So I would talk about the pressure of translating for the parents,
Mm-hmm.
how my parents didn't get the green card, or if they're still illegal, talk about it,
Okay.
Don't be shy. Yes. So
I
these are
appreciate
things that
that.
I would advise. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the Asian community frequently has the idea of the model minority, right? So the model minority, if you look at any minority in America, is often looked at, in the Asian community. Now, being someone that is from the mental health sphere, I have seen how that has caused
Oh,
emotional
bad.
damage. So
Right.
as a person, who is, me in the mental health field, as a person, who has trauma informed a mindset, what can we do in, I'm calling all the mental health community. What can the mental health community do who understands trauma do to support immigrants and their journey into assimilating or being a part of America?
That's a really good question. There was a time when I was younger, because in Cleveland, Ohio, in Columbus, I know some not-for-profits, and they do have some Chinese people working there. I always encourage them, really, maybe to have someone from the same nationality, but there's none, because most Asians, they always go to medical school. They're
Yeah.
not into the psychology. We're ashamed to talk about how I feel.
Right.
In fact, most, especially Korean dads and moms, they're tougher than Chinese moms and dads, because they normally run a store. They really push their kids. That's why most successful writers in the Asian community were Korean until the Chinese are coming up.
Yeah.
I mean, we still compete, right? I'm Chinese, I compete with
Right.
Koreans now. But you're right. We need to really support them. But I really think it's so difficult because just the pressure is so internalized. But you're right. How could we do it instead? How could we not do it?
Yeah.
I would just keep talking to them, say it's okay, it's okay. And
Okay.
it doesn't hurt to have family,
Yeah.
in truth, because we are so into our family. We are brought up not to leave home. You know how American kids, they're 18, they feel ashamed if they stay at home.
Right. We kick them
We
out.
feel
Right.
ashamed if they get out. You know, I was, oh, my son is living with me. Of course he's not living with me, but we lie. We say, oh, my son is still living with me. My daughter is living with me. So it's a different. We lie about things, and for us, it's not. People know we're lying, but we still lie anyway. So it's a different culture. We try to. The shame factor is really
Gotcha.
bad. See, for
Gotcha.
you it's guilt. For us, it's shame.
I
It's a
got you.
different word.
I
Yeah.
got you. I'm not supposed to be laughing. I'm supposed to be serious.
Oh, no.
All right, so
I totally agree with
got,
you. Yes.
I got one last question. I'm gonna let you go. So based off of where we are, in America today, as it relates to immigrants, migrants, or whatever the media is saying, what gives you hope when working with marginalized families, in your practice? What gives you
Yes.
hope?
Actually, to further your answer also on hope and on being Asian, model Asian, the model Asians are very much more the Koreans and the Chinese. But if we look at Laos, Vietnam, we have a lot of Asians, Malaysians, Indonesians. We are not as successful. Hmongs, I mean,
Right.
actually not successful, because a lot of them are used to hunting,
Okay.
and in America, it's hurtful. So I don't necessarily think it's fair to look at us, and it puts pressure on a lot of more. Now I'm calling them, which I'm not supposed to, because we're all Asians. But a lot of times, the first, actually, I have a Cambodian born client who became Taiwanese. So whenever I talk to her, I say, "Oh, you're born in Colombia, because Colombia is going through hell with their
Yeah,
students."
Colombia. Right.
Right. So you're born in Cambodia, and she'll correct me. She said, "No, I hold a Taiwanese passport," because nobody wants to be that country.
Right,
So
right.
it's just, in our community, we have a lot of problems with, even within our own people, that we sort of look down on them and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yes. So
Okay.
yeah.
Well, thank you for spending time with us. Thank you for that. Is Attorney Wong. Your voice and your fight, is making a difference in every community. And the more, and just for those that are listening to you, first they come for, one, race of people. They come for you next. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing that in this day and age, there are individuals that, are segmenting, quote unquote, the minority, community, and we need to work together. So I appreciate, Attorney Wong, you coming on and spending time. How can the people reach you or reach out to you? All my two listeners. I only got two listeners. So how can
Yes.
my two listeners reach out
Thank
to you?
My email is wong@imwong.com.
Okay.
So, and then they can just email the law firm, and normally I get them.
All right. Well, I appreciate your time and I appreciate your fight. Is there any last words before we let you go and have the rest of your day?
No, I'm good. And thank you so much for the invite.
Thank you for spending time. That is, like I said, Attorney Wong. Attorney Wong, you have a great day and keep up the fight.
Thank you.
All right.